All right, Brad. I think we're ready to go. You ready to get into it?
Yeah, let's get stuck in, bro.
Cool, man. You want to tell them what this video is all about?
So chances are, if you clicked on this video, you've probably been trying to figure out how to build a personal brand and create some sort of a business out of it.
And if you're like us, you've probably tried a bunch of stuff that just hasn't worked out. You're probably feeling a little bit discouraged. You're probably feeling a little bit tired. Probably feeling like you're doing all the right things and you're still not getting the results that you want to.
We get it. Like, there's so much noise out there, especially now more than ever. So our goal has really been to make this video the last video that you need to watch to understand how to build a magnetic, impactful personal brand that's embedded with your values and the mission that you're on, and take that and make cash from it.
And this is not going to be one of those videos where you don't really get much value out of it. We're actually going to go deep. And because we're going to go deep, we've actually created a workbook that you can get right below this video that will guide you through literally everything that we're going to cover in detail. So make sure to download that workbook, use it as you're going through the video. It'll help you tremendously.
Yeah, and on that note, you don't need to click anything, buy anything, do anything. Just sit back, enjoy the show. Download the workbook at the end of the video so you can go through it again and really take time to fill it out properly. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy.
Yeah. And by the way, if you don't want to know who I am, I'm Abraham.
And I'm Brad.
So what we're about to dive into is the new playbook for turning your personal brand into a business that attracts, converts, and scales. So what you're going to notice as we go through the different plays that we're going to cover in this playbook is that this is not the advice that you're used to hearing. It's very contrarian. And it's very contrarian for a reason. When everybody is going right, you should probably be going left, especially in the social media world where it's important to stand out, right? And you're going to notice a lot of these contrarian strategies to actually building and monetizing your personal brand. So yeah, Brad, let's dive into the specifics of this.
So in the beginning, when you're building out your personal brand, there tends to be two paths, right, that someone goes down. Path A, which this is Bill. Bill followed all of the rules. He built an offer suite with all kinds of products, fancy funnel to sell them, posted daily, sharing tips, tricks, knowledge, slid into DMs to book calls, pushed hard to get and close every lead. But the thing is with Bill is his brand felt really generic, right? He had a lot of knowledge and skills within his sphere, but he was just getting swept into the void. His offer didn't land, his business wasn't growing, and he was always doing a lot, but rarely making a little. Always working, always selling, rarely converting, and rarely scaling. And then on the other hand, we have Jet, right? And you can already see the difference between Bull and Jet. Jet has a little bit more personality. Jet shows a different path. He simplified things. He built one offer that solved one problem. He then positioned himself as the clear solution to that specific problem. But instead of teaching, he focused on actually connecting. He built a magnetic personal brand. So now what happens with Jet is that his content attracts the right people. His audience grows, his offer converts. He doesn't need to chase clients because they actually come to him, reaching out to him from his content. And with that, his business grows with ease.
So if you're somebody who has skills, experience, or real value to share with others, and you've been feeling invisible online, again, you've been feeling like things aren't really working out for you, or maybe you're feeling like you have the offers, you have the funnel, maybe even have the audience, but again, things are not quite working for you. This training is going to shift everything for you. We're going to show you exactly how to turn your personal brand into a business that's magnetic, aligned, and profitable. And we're going to show you how to do this without chasing, without burning out, or without selling your soul for $1. So you might think that you're a little bit late to the party, but the truth is that as of today, the creator economy is a $200 billion market, and this is projected to grow to $528 billion by 2030. It's growing at around 22 to 28% annually, and it's one of the fastest growing sectors in the economy. And the reason why there's never been a better time to actually become a creator and build and monetize your personal brand is because we're seeing a huge shift in learning from big institutions to individuals. People want to learn from people like you and people like us. And just the online education sector alone is projected to grow to a $1 trillion market by 2030. Now, as we're preparing for this training, we got some really cool stats. There are over 207 million creators worldwide, but only 4% of creators make over 100K a year. I don't know if you agree with this, Brad, but this seems like a very sad statistic to me.
It's absurd, bro. Absolutely absurd.
The truth is that most creators are burnt out. They're doing a lot and they have very little to show for it. The things that used to work, like trends, virality hacks, dancing, doesn't work like they used to. Audiences are more skeptical. They're looking to actually feel something, to connect with someone. And in this training, we're going to show you exactly what is working today.
So if we look at the creator space at the moment, niche creators with strong personal brands and small engaged audiences are the ones that are actually winning within the space, right? There's creators that have maybe 100,000 followers making next to no money. And then there's creators with 5,000 followers who are making 10, 20, 30K a month. The brands and buyers are shifting towards creators with clear positioning, strong point of views, and packaged experience. But the old monetization game is dead. Those fancy funnels and freebies, forced sales are no longer converting like they used to. I've got a couple of examples here of like even big players within the space, like Iman Gaji. He created a niche channel called Iman Gaji Business for a very specific offer that he was selling. You have people like Callaway, even two individuals who are from the Monetize Yourself community. Someone like Jev, who only has a following of 323 followers, but he's got invited to be a guest speaker at events in London. And he's got a lot of traction for this challenge that he's recently launched, all because he's building a brand with clear intention and purpose. Or someone like Daniel, who landed up growing from literally zero within a matter of months to over, I think it's what is it now, Abe? Like over 190,000 followers across platform, because he got super, super clear with how he was being positioned within his space.
Now, Brett and I, we aren't just two random dudes that decided to put this training together. We've actually walked the talk, and I think it's important for you guys to know who we are, so you guys can understand why you guys should actually try and implement some of the things that we're going to share with you today. So my story actually starts in college, and I was always fascinated by this idea of making a living on the internet. And I started many different businesses, and one of them actually took off almost toward the end of my college career. On my junior year of college, I decided to actually drop out. I built that business. But for me, it was very much a cash play and not a hard play. I was making money, but I wasn't loving what I was doing. But because I had been documenting the whole journey from dropping out of college to starting that business to getting my first office, I actually built a bit of an audience. And it was that audience that then allowed me to transition to working with creators, because creators actually started reaching out and asking me, hey, like, how are you doing these things? How are you doing online marketing? How are you building funnels? How are you selling courses and info and services? And once transitioned to working with creators, I built a business called Creator Business Academy, where for the first 3 years, we only focused on helping top creators build and monetize their personal brands. Then we transitioned to working with aspiring creators, and we helped over 150 creators build and monetize their personal brand. I've also been able to make over $1 million with my own offers, and doing all of this has actually allowed me to live in 3 different vision board apartments in Miami, Medellin, currently New York City. There's a high likelihood that soon I'll be moving to Tulum to another vision board apartment. And not only that, it also led to me getting hired at WAP, which is a startup in the creator space, to build a community of over 60,000 creators for them. Later, I left that job to now build what we're building together here with Brad. So this is a little bit about my story and what the creator space has allowed me to do.
Yeah, so I'm Brad, Bradford, if you want to say my full name. The funny thing is, I'm just like a normal, ordinary dude from South Africa. And when I was living in SA, I saw all of these people creating content, making money online, but I had no idea how they were doing it. At the time, I was working 3 jobs in South Africa, right? I was a yoga teacher, pizza delivery boy, and a waiter. And I remember times where I'd literally put my last $5 into my petrol tank and still break down, needing to be rescued by one of my friends on the highway. Towards 2022, I decided it was time I needed to leave South Africa and try search for something a little bit more. So I used the skills that I had and I worked at an ice cream shop, still with this massive vision of trying to figure out how to make money online. I then launched my first online business and started creating a bit of a personal brand. During this journey, I really fell in love with content creation and branding and understanding the fundamentals of like how to create an impactful brand. So it left me going and studying in Sweden, actually at a university where there was industry leaders from Nike and Netflix. I then took that and went all in on building my personal brand. But I didn't just want to create content that was generic. I wanted to create a brand that felt aligned and that felt like me. When I started doing that, something crazy happened. Literally within 6 months, my account went from 2,500 followers to over 50,000 followers. I started working with 6 to 8 figure entrepreneurs, established brands like DJI, and this vision that I had when I was in South Africa of trying to earn money online and travel. It started to become a reality.
So it's a little bit about both of our stories and the fact that, again, we're not just two random dudes on the internet, although we kind of are. And I think there's something to that, right? To the fact that we're not special. Neither Brad or I have millions of followers or massive audiences, yet we're both making a living online. And not only that, we've both helped tons of other people make a living online. So let's dive a little bit into what's allowed us to do that and the new plays in this playbook that will help you do that. And when we're thinking about this, we really tried to make the complicated simple. And we came up with 3 different plays that anybody that's trying to make a living online and build and monetize a personal brand needs to go through. And the first part is productisation. This is the first play. Now, what is productisation? It's simply taking a skill or process or service and developing it into a packaged, marketable, and sellable product. So it's essentially taking all the little things that you have to offer and putting it into something that you can sell. Now, this is probably not news to you that you have to do this. The problem is how you've been taught to do this versus what's working in today's landscape. The old play that you've probably been taught is to create a value ladder and to create essentially a free offer, a low ticket offer, a mid ticket offer, and a high ticket offer. The problem with approaching this in this way is that before you know it, you have a bunch of offers, you have a funnel for each offer. Each offer has a different outcome that you need to keep track of. And this makes your business very dense, very complicated. There is a lot of different moving parts. And often juggling 4 different offers leads to your clients being confused around where they should invest their money, what's the right offer for them. And it often leaves you feeling burnt out. So this is the old way of doing things. Now, let's dive a little bit into the new way. So rather than having 4 different offers, what you want to do is, in order to simplify your business, in order for your clients to know exactly what it is that you're offering and the best option for them, you want to create one single offer. And rather than having a low ticket, mid ticket, high ticket offer, what you want to do is you want to have multiple access levels for that offer. So in one offer, you can easily package a free offer, a group offer, a one-on-one offer, and a done with you or done for you offer. Now, I know the question in your mind is, how do I do this? Well, we've created this dynamic offer framework that's really effective at helping you do that. Now, what's a dynamic offer? Simple. It's one offer that makes one promise, which is to guide people toward one place through one process and different levels of support and access. The cool thing about this is it really allows you to simplify your business. And the way that you can think about it is as a gym, right? If you go to a gym, they have different membership tiers, different levels of support and access. So, for example, for the resources, this might just be the machinery that you're able to go in there and use, right? But then you also have group classes. Maybe you're doing bicep curls or squats and you look through the window at the group classes and you're seeing a bunch of people having a lot of fun. And maybe you want to try group classes to get to the same place that everybody's going to when they go to the gym, which is a better health, better physique, right? So you also have one-on-one. You may choose to work with a personal trainer, or even deeper than that, you might choose to work with somebody who, let's say with a done with you offer, maybe they're doing a whole lifestyle assessment. They're taking you grocery shopping. They're teaching you how to cook very specific meals, right? So rather than having a bunch of different offers that don't really connect, what you do is you simply get clear what this one place is. You charge for the amount of time that it takes somebody to go, or I should say, to achieve this transformation and the level of support and access that they need. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to dive into each one of these components to help you get clear on what your dynamic offer should look like. If you've ever read Stephen Covey's book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, you know that one of those principles is to start with the end in mind, which is why here we start with the place. Where are we guiding people to, right? And the place is simply the destination that your clients want to reach, right? It is the final fulfillment of the outcome that they deeply desire. So we're going to use here the example of a confidence coach. A confidence coach will take you from being socially anxious, from not being able to talk to people, from being insecure, from not really feeling good about yourself, to being bold, to being magnetic, to being confident. So we set that as a destination that we're going to guide all of our clients through, regardless of the access or support level that they choose to work with us. Then the next thing that we need to do is we need to make a promise to these people. And the promise is essentially the commitment that we make that, hey, if you invest in this offer, we're going to take you to the place that you want to go. So for a confidence coach, the promise that he could make to the marketplace is, hey, if you give me money and you invest in my offer, I'll help you go from socially anxious and insecure to boldly confident and magnetic so you can show up unapologetic in any room, on camera, or in your relationships. So the access levels are the different ways that your audience can engage with your offer. And here I've listed out 5 different access levels. It's important that you know that you don't need all 5. You can easily have a dynamic offer with 1 access level. And when you're getting started, I highly encourage you to just have 2 access levels, ideally a high ticket access level and a mid ticket access level. And different access levels that you have for really any type of offer in the online space are simple. You have a do-it-yourself type of access level. This is usually going to be some sort of info offer, resource template, course that you will sell. And essentially, they take the information, they go out and do or implement the information on their own. Then you have either group coaching or consulting, where you're guiding people toward a destination in a group environment. Then you have one-on-one coaching or consulting, which is pretty self-explanatory. You're working one-on-one with somebody to help them achieve a certain outcome. Then you get into either done with you or services, where they're paying you a certain amount of money and you're actually doing the thing for them. And then done for you is you do literally everything. Of course, as people go through these different access levels, they're getting more of your time, they're getting more value from you, which means you should be charging more money as people go through these different access levels. Then we get into the process. And the process is by far the most important part of your dynamic offer. this becomes the backbone of your business, right? Now, your process is simply your method, your framework, the series of steps that you take to get someone from where they're at to where they want to be, from their current situation to their desired situation. This also becomes what we call your unique mechanism, the thing that makes your offer different than, right? And for this, you simply want to list out the high level steps that you will take someone through. If you build this right, your process also becomes a logical argument that you will make to people during the pitch. And essentially, that logical argument will show them, hey, if you follow this step and then you do this and then you do this other thing, you'll get where you want to go. So your process should make sense. I'm going to show you an example of a process here in a second. Now, before I do that, I want to show you the math for a business that does 40K a month with a dynamic offer to show you how simple it can be. Now, Brad and I have landed at this number of 40K. It's a great freedom number. Making $40,000 a month from your business in today's day and age, well, yeah, you have people that are making millions, right? We understand that, again, only 4% of creators are making over 100K. So 40K is something that's very realistic, something that you can work toward, and something that you can do without a big team. So let's say your dynamic offer only has two different access levels. You have a core tier and then you have a premium tier. Let's say your core tier is a group offer, right? That you sell for $5,000 for the quarter. And let's say your premium tier is a one-on-one type of offer. Could be coaching, could be consulting, could be services that you deliver at $10,000 a month. Now, to make $40,000 a month with this, you only need every single month to find 4 clients for your group offer and 2 clients for your one-on-one offer. That means that from your core offer, you'll make $20,000 a month, and from your premium offer, you'll make another $20,000 a month, only 6 clients and $40,000 a month. So the first myth that I want to bust in this whole presentation is that to build a 40K a month business, which again, this is a dream, you don't need to have millions of followers. You don't have to be this mega influencer. You only need a well-positioned brand, a clear offer, and 6 new clients per month. Now, let me show you what this actually looks like when you bring it to real life. So this is a case study of a client that I work with. His name is Alex Sedlak. You might have seen this guy across social media. He tends to pop up on everybody's feed. So the offer that we created with him is called Create Your Reality. And this was an offer that we created for a demographic that was feeling like they were being led to create a reality that was not theirs. They were being pushed into going to college. They were being pushed into going into a 9-to-5. And they saw the internet and they realized, hey, like, we don't need to go down that path. And they wanted to create something in the online space and that was theirs, but they didn't really know how to, right? This offer was very successful. And 15 months, this offer did $255,000 with a group coaching offer that was very, very accessible to this market because it was a younger market. And on back-end sales, right? When it came to the second tier, we made over 500K with this offer. This offer brought in over 2,000 new clients who continue to do business with Alex to this day. Now, what I want to show you here is the results process. So we knew that when people came to us, they were feeling lost, they were feeling confused, and they wanted more out of life. And when you knew the place that they wanted to get to, their desired situation is they wanted to be clear on the life that they wanted to create. They wanted to be clear on what the path looked like. They wanted a clear action path. They wanted to be empowered with the right tools, the right mindset to go out and bring this vision to life. And they actually wanted to be on that path to create an epic reality. So the process across all tiers that we created for them was, well, okay, you want to create your reality. Well, the first step is direction. It needs to be your direction. So we need to actually take a step back. And by the way, what I'm doing right now is I'm giving you the logical argument. We need to take a step back and we need to figure out, hey, like, what does your reality actually look like? Then once we have the direction, we need to create a vision around it. We need to understand, hey, what does this actually look like so we can make the necessary decisions to bring that vision to life? Then we need the right mindset to make it happen. So there was a heavy element on mindset, identity. And lastly, what are the tools, right? So here we taught social media, we taught business, we taught personal development tools that would help people become the type of people that could actually create their reality. And this is a really cool offer because we launched this probably 4 or 5 years ago. And a lot of the people that went through this program today, they've actually done this. They've gone on to create really epic lives for themselves. So this is an example of how you can take this idea of a dynamic offer and package whatever it is that you have to offer the world into one offer that people can engage with in many different ways. So this is the first play, productisation. Now I'll let Brad take over the second play.
So now we get into the second play, which is positioning and building a really impactful magnetic brand that allows you to make a lot of money from it. This is the creator positioning pyramid. And before I dive into fully exactly what it is, I just want to clarify, what I mean by positioning. Positioning is your ability to dominate a specific sector of the internet, right? To be known for something, solving a specific problem. Now, how the creator positioning pyramid comes into play. So there's 4 different levels. And the whole intentionality behind it is that we're wanting to ascend to the next level, right? So you have creator, expert, authority, and celebrity. Now, as you ascend each level, your positioning gets stronger. And with a stronger positioning, you have more trust. And as you have more trust, you're able to charge more for your product, services, and the things that you're selling. On the creator level, where a lot of people tend to be stuck, is you have the skills needed to be able to create content, but things are a little bit all over the place, right? Maybe you're making some food videos and then you have some gym content and you have a couple brands that reach out to you because your content is good, but you're not really known for anything specifically. But the crazy thing is that just moving from creator to expert, you unlock a 7-figure brand or 7-figure business, right? The opportunities that come from when your positioning shifts from this generic kind of all over the place to solving that specific problem. So on the expert level, you really start to become recognized for being a person that can solve a specific problem, right? When people are looking for help with something that they're going through, whether it's maybe could be something like accounting or learning digital art, or even in my case, like personal branding, people look to you for answers, right? And they see the skills, the proof that you've cultivated. Now, shifting from expert to authority, okay? Authority is when you start to become more of a thought leader within the space. You're bringing your own ideas, concepts, and taking what is already in the industry and really forming it. Now, the experts gain their knowledge from you, and they tend to kind of create or piggyback off of the information that you're feeding into the industry. And you are widely recognized as someone that people should listen to. And then you have the celebrity level. And this is really when your knowledge and experience kind of transcends your industry, right? You start to get known outside of your industry and more kind of worldwide, if you will. Think of people like Gary Vee, Alex Hormozy, these big names within the space that a lot of people tend to know them, right? You don't necessarily need to get to celebrity level, Remember, just shifting from creator to expert unlocks that 7-figure business. So as a visual example, right, this is positioning cash graph. And as you can see, as you move from creator to expert and then to authority, your positioning gets stronger. And as your positioning gets stronger, your ability to make money from your brand gets increased. And that's all due to the amount of trust that you start to build with your audience. So remember at the beginning of this video where I introduced those 2 characters, right? We have Bull and Jet. They are a perfect example. The 2 different ways that people tend to go about building a brand. One way creates a generic brand, leaving it feeling very disconnected although adding value, but no one really remembers it. And the other way is a brand that really connects with people deeply. And we've broken this down into two ways, right? You have the old play, which is Bull. Now, Bull is building an audience via minus volume algorithm hacks, like following all of the trending sounds, hashtags, things like that. As you can see, he's a little bit stuck up. He's trying to show up in the right way and present himself perfectly to his audience, wearing a suit and tie. Bull is building an audience via minus volume, algorithm hacks, and chasing trends. Seeing all those social media gurus telling him he needs to post at this and this time, use the perfect hashtags. The issue is that he's really knowledgeable at what he does, right? He kind of looks like an accountant here, but he just resembles like any skill or service that someone might have. He can definitely help you in solving the problems that you have, and he has the skills to do it. Probably a lot of proof to back it as well. But the issue is that he looks, sounds, feels like everyone else within the space. He's only sharing what he does, so just the information that he has, and his positioning is terrible, right? So what lands up happening is all the efforts that Bull goes into creating his content kind of gets just swept under the rug. He gets forgotten for what he's doing because he looks, sounds, and feels like everyone else. And then on the flip side, we have the new play, Jet. Now, as you can see, Jet is already bringing in a little bit more personality. You can kind of feel the vibe and energy that he brings into his brand. So he's building an audience through depth, value, trust, and connection. Thing is that Jet has probably a little bit less knowledge than Bull does. He can definitely help you, and for sure he has the skills, but maybe not as much as Bull. The thing that Jet is doing right is that he creates deep resonance with his content. He has a clear, systematic approach and really fucking strong positioning. Although he might not have as much knowledge or proof as Bull, he is able to build a truly, truly magnetic brand. So I'm going to break down exactly step by step how you can do this and create a brand that connects with people, positions you as an expert in your space, and really starts to build that sense of trust. So before I dive into the authority engine, I just want to remind you to download the playbook that goes with this whole training. I'm going to give you the high level overview of each one of these cogs, but the real practical steps that you need to take are going to be in that playbook. So here we have the authority engine. This is the system that makes your brand do the selling for you. I'm sure like you've probably experienced this, or maybe you haven't, but there tends to be a lot of this like neediness within the online space, right? There's people like reaching out to doing all this outreach that comes across very salesy and it can put a bit of like a bitter taste in your mouth. We don't want you to build a brand where you have to do that. The whole purpose is that you build a brand where you have your ideal clients, ideal followers reaching out to you, asking to work with you. So I'm going to show you exactly step by step how you can do that here. There's 5 cogs to the authority engine. Okay, it's very simple. I'm going to run through each one by one. So we have 1 being why, 2, who, 3, how, the 4th one is what, and the 5th one is proof. The key theme here is that authority isn't built by posting more, shouting louder, or playing the algorithm games. It's built by putting the right pieces together so you can create the right associations for your brand and have it do the outreach for you. So looking back to the authority engine, we have the first one, which is why. What do I mean by why? This is really clarity on who you are and what you stand for. My true perspective when it comes to building a personal brand is that brand building it's not about, trying to gain as many followers as possible or do the right tactics, etc. building a personal brand is a flippin' huge personal development journey. You learn so much about yourself. And in the beginning stages, you really need to have clarity on who you are and what you stand for. This why is so much deeper than all the vanity metrics that come about. You no longer will necessarily be fixated on the views and the followers and the saves, but you have a deeper message behind your brand. That is the thing that then connects with people. A good example of this is, a brand like Nike, right? Nike isn't just a sportswear company. They stand for inspiration and performance. Their mission is to bring out the athlete in everyone. And you feel it in their marketing. You feel it in the way that they show up with the people they work with, the drops that they bring out. That is then the North Star that allows you to build an impactful and connected brand. So the second cog is who. Specificity in who you help. This is really what allows you to shift from being just a general creator to an expert. When you don't understand or you don't know or have clarity around the person that you're really trying to help, the problems that they have, what their dreams, their desires are, how are you meant to speak to anyone? The reason why someone's content resonates deeply with you is because they have it angled and focused towards a person like you. The easiest way to do this is to view your ideal follower as a past, present, or future version of yourself. When you do this, you realize that you know yourself, through reflection, you know yourself on a deep level. Hence, then you know your ideal follower and the person that you're creating content for on a deep level. So you're able to produce pieces of content that resonate with them deeply and get them emotionally invested and connected to your brand. I'll give you the example of Nike. We're just going to roll with Nike throughout this so you guys can have like a good representation of what a big brand like Nike does and how it applies to them. Right? Nike doesn't try to sell everything to everyone. They focus on people who want to push themselves and perform at their best, whether that's elite athletes or just everyday people chasing personal goals. When someone thinks of performance sportswear, Nike is the first name that comes to mind. So the next cog of the authority engine is then the how. This is really your dynamic offer, right? Everything that Abe ran through with you, and it's turning your process into a signature framework, like owning your intellectual property. How Nike does this is like Nike's products aren't just shoes, they're backed by tech like Air and Flynet paired with storytelling. Their approach is really difficult to be replicated, right? No one else can take Flynet and they can make a version of it, but they can't call it the same thing. And it's going to be really difficult for someone to mimic what Nike does. And if they do, people are probably going to call them out for it. It's the same within a personal branding or the creator space. The fourth cog is the what. This is what your brand looks like. The branding that you have and with your visual identity, the fonts, the colors, the music that you use matters so much more than you think. All of these little aspects allow someone to connect emotionally. It starts to form a brand that is memorable. So when someone is going on social media and scrolling, before you even speak, before they read the text, they can see that it's a video from you. There's ways to go about doing this, right? Like in a lot of my videos, I don't have it on now, but I wear a watch, I wear a Whoop, I have a guitar in the background, and all these little things that I bring into my content is what allows people to connect with me and get to understand me more as an individual. And it's exactly what I want you to do with yours as well. Looking back at Nike, right, you can spot a Nike ad in seconds. The bold imagery, the clean typography, the music that they use, even without the logo, you know it's a Nike ad because of the way that they show up in it. So then the final cog of the authority engine is proof and embodiment. Like you wouldn't hire a fat personal trainer, for instance. You need to have the receipts, that you know what you're talking about, that you have results from the information that you're giving people. The more proof that you have, the more people will associate the successes that you've achieved with the information you have with your brand. An example of this is like Nike doesn't just claim performance, they show it, right? Olympic athletes, championship wins, world records, there's proof everywhere you look. So, what happens when all five of these cogs of the authority engine are actually turning together? Well, people start quoting your frameworks in conversations that you're not even in. You get tagged as the go to without asking. Your inbox fills with inbound inquiries instead of having to chase after these cold DMs. Your offer becomes the obvious choice in your niche, and you post less but make more money because your brand is doing all of the selling for you. Or because you're bringing in these different aspects that allow you to move from creator to expert, be positioned a lot more strongly as an expert within your space. And, people are starting to connect with you on a much deeper level because you're sharing part of yourself and the mission that you're on. One of the members of Monetize Yourself that has done this really well is Daniel. In the beginning of his journey, he was very similar to Bill. He was trying to share this kind of generic information, but nothing was really connecting. His content was doing okay. Like he was having, a couple that were a couple of posts that was gaining good traction. Then he started truly implementing the cogs of the authority engine, bringing in his why, mission, and vision, starting to hone in on the person that he was speaking to, giving proof. His brand then started becoming the proof that he knew what he was talking about. So within the space of 4 months, he went from 1,000 followers on TikTok and 74 on Instagram to now over 139 followers on TikTok and 40.7K on Instagram. That's plus 179,000 followers in the space of 4 months because he took the principles of the authority engine, applied it directly to his brand, was able to be positioned strongly within his space. So that people connected with him, trusted the information that he had, and now he's able to take that audience and attention that he's gained and start making cash from it. But there's one crucial thing that is really the oil to the authority engine. It is the thing that allows the engine to run smoothly so that you build an audience, but you build an audience that's connected to not only just the information that you provide, but who you are as an individual. And that oil is a deep sense of resonance. So the definition of resonance is the occurrence of a vibrating object causing another object to vibrate at a higher amplitude. So the whole idea of building a tribe of people that really fuck with you, not just for the information that you're giving them, but because of who you are. It's people relating strongly to the story that you have, to the highs, the lows, the successes and failures. But how do you actually go about creating a sense of resonance within your brand and your content? So there's a couple ways to do this. First one being is self-awareness. So getting clear on who you are and what you stand for, what matters to you. That is the fundamental. It's also the first cog within the authority engine, right? If you don't have clarity on who you are and what you stand for, how can you build an intentional brand that actually connects truly, that actually connects deeply with people? It's going to be pretty difficult. Second is clarifying your values and beliefs. So these are then the things that become the internal compass. Think of like the principles that you hold yourself towards, your moral code that comes about. And it makes it so much easier than when making decisions on creating content or building products and services in terms of what you want to say yes and what you want to say no to. Third is then removing barriers to natural self-expression. Don't be a robot. You don't need to say things perfectly. You can mess things up. It's okay. That's why personal branding is such a powerful journey because you learn how to express yourself. And then the last one, number 4, is alignment attracts. So attract the people, the opportunities, and results that are meant for you. If you're showing up in a way that fake in a way that you don't actually show up in your day-to-day life, you're going to attract opportunities that don't align properly with who you are at your core. So it's really important to show up authentically within your life, but also your content. So then you can attract the opportunities that connect and align strongly with you. So to wrap this up, this is the difference between being a bull and a jet. Having a deep sense of resonance, allowing yourself to show up fully in a strategic way, bringing in these different aspects of you, which allows to build out your authority engine and making sure that you have a resonance with your content to keep the whole thing running smooth. Now we are ready for the final play, which is monetization. Take it away, Abe.
All right, let's talk about third and last play, monetization. The first thing that you need to know about monetization is that there are two approaches to monetization, and one works better, is easier, and more enjoyable only when executed correctly. So let's talk about the old play and probably what you've been taught to do, right? And this is essentially how most creators try to monetize. The goal with the old play is to make money now. That's what you're focusing on. And it's to make money at any cost. The time horizon, meaning the timelines that you're focused, tend to be very short-sighted. And the tactics that you've probably been taught with the old play are to do aggressive DMs, send 50 DMs a day, 100 DMs a day. You've probably heard it's a numbers game. It's to utilize constant discounts, fake urgency, engagement bait, cold pitching, chasing people down. The mindset here is usually people don't want what I have. People don't even know that they have this mindset, but this is usually how their mind is thinking. If I don't push for things that I want, I won't get paid. I have to convince people to work with me because people have this mindset. The energy around here tends to be very forceful. And the result from this is usually low conversions, your audience starts to hate you, and poor positioning. The more that you approach marketing from this energy, this mindset, it actually starts to work against you. People start to kind of hate you and follow you. So let's talk about the new play, which is instead of chasing and pushing, it's going to be attracting and pooling. And this is what starts to happen when your brand is positioned right. The goal here is a little bit different with attracting and pooling is to actually build a system that attracts ready to buy clients consistently. It's not to make money now, it's to actually systematize things. The horizon is not make money now, short sighted, it's actually long game. So you're thinking, hey, how can I build something that might make actually getting money initially a little bit slower, but that in the long run is going to actually lead to better profits, a more enjoyable business to run. The tactics that we employ with new plays to build systems that capture and nurture the leads automatically. I'm going to show you that system in a second. To publish strategic content that positions you and your offer, and to invite people instead of begging them, right? Like a lot of the marketing that you see in the industry tends to be very needy in nature. So the mindset here is actually a little bit different, right? It's my people are already looking for this. My system finds, nurtures, and converts people, and the right people will see it and feel it, right? So it's an energy of trust. It's an energy of having faith that if you do the right things, if you plant seeds, eventually you'll be able to reap the reward, which leads to an energy of flow. And this is an energy that a lot of people in this space aren't feeling. And if you just consume a lot of the content that's out there, you'll notice that a lot of people are very much in this forceful energy. The result from actually approaching client acquisition and monetization this way is that clients actually DM you. You start attracting opportunities rather than having to chase them. You're able to charge higher prices and have less resistance to people actually paying you those higher prices. And your business grows with flow, not force. Again, this is much more enjoyable. So that's the high level of the old play, the new play. Let's dive a little bit into how to actually do this. The first step, I'm not going to dive too deep into because Brad already spoke about this, but the first step is to actually shift your positioning. If you want to start attracting opportunities, you really have to become somebody that people want to work with. And you do have to make this jump from a creator to an expert. And to do this, you're going to define the problem that you're going to solve for people. And you're going to simply position yourself as the go-to person for solving this problem, right? How? You're going to do this with content. You're going to do this with thought leadership. And you're going to do this with proof. Proof that what you say you can do, you actually do, right? The best way to show other people that you can help them is to actually simply show them that you've helped other people. So that's the first step. Step 2 is to set up your attraction and conversion system, right? So there are 3 steps that we need to follow here. The first step is to set up your dynamic offer, which is what we started with, to then get into a publishing rhythm to build your brand. And again, it's not just any brand that we want to build. We want to build a jet brand, not a bill brand. And then to systematize a clear path from content to lead to client. Let me show you what that path looks like. So it starts with your dynamic offer, because that's the thing that informs the brand, the content that we need to build. And based on what you're selling and how you're positioning yourself, we're going to create short form content, usually on Instagram, TikTok, X, LinkedIn, whatever platforms you're creating on. And that's going to lead to you getting a follower, right? So then we're going to utilize client callouts, which are very simple invitations to move people to action, some that we teach inside of our program, to generate DMs, people reaching out to you, to get people to watch our long-form content. Think a newsletter, a YouTube video, to get people to watch our conversion assets, such as a video sales letter, and to, again, read our newsletter, right? So this is really the 4 different things that we want to drive people to. And these things will lead people toward a conversion mechanism, right? What is a conversion mechanism? It's how we turn interest into clients and cash flow. So depending where you're at and how strong your positioning is, you will either have to do a sales call, but if you have great positioning, you can actually get away with just doing an offer doc that simply goes over your offer. That leads to the close, which leads to the cash. And then at that point, it is our job to deliver on the promise that we make to the marketplace, to get people results, and to then retain clients. A lot of people totally forget about this very, very important step. But as we're generating cash, we're going to use that cash to reinvest it into the system by hiring key roles in our team and investing money into ads, which is essentially like putting fuel on this fire. And the way that we're going to put fuel on that fire is via ads. So first we start with short form, we get some money, then we're reinvested into putting more flow through the system. Now, it is very important that as we're generating results for our client, we're actually taking those results in the form of proof, testimonials, case studies, and using them to improve our positioning. Again, the big idea that you should take away from this training is that the better your positioning is in your market, the easier it's going to be to actually get clients and grow your business. So once we've built out this system that I just shared with you here, then our third and last step is to simply drive traffic through this system. So if you think of this system as a garden hose, what you'll notice is that as you start putting traffic through it, you're going to reach a bottleneck. You're going to reach a point where the water, in a way, stops flowing as smoothly. And what you want to do and simply focus on is you want to see, hey, where is the water not flowing here? I'm creating short form content that's not getting followers. Well, that's where the kink in the hose is. That's where the bottleneck is. That's where you want to focus your attention and fix that, right? And when you're troubleshooting the system, I would actually take it from the left to the right. There's no point in troubleshooting your conversion mechanism if you're not even getting people on sales calls, right? So those are the 3 different steps that you want to follow for monetization. You want to make sure that you're attracting, not chasing, pulling, not pushing. You want to make sure that your brand is well positioned. You actually want to focus on building a very simple system. I know when you look at this, it might look, oh man, that's like a lot of different stuff. It's actually not. And then just focus on optimizing your system over time. The biggest thing that's going to hold you back here is shiny object syndrome. You're going to come across another YouTube video that tells you a different way of doing this. And the truth is that, look, all of these different ways work. Webinars work, newsletters work, workshops work. They all work, right? The problem is that people don't stick with any one given system long enough for them to actually optimize that system to a level at which the system will work for them. So they jump from coach to coach, from training to training, from system to system. Years pass by, and they're in the same place. So I know this is a longer video than you usually watch on YouTube. The beginning of this presentation, we shared with you that we were going to go deep. So to get clear on how to apply all these things that we shared with you in this training, make sure to check out the workbook below this video. It will dive a lot deeper than this, and it will guide you through getting clear on each one of these things.